Good morning. Welcome to another episode of HardFoul Radio. This is the show that values time and puts God first. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. It is a special show today. It is a full 3 hours. Tony is joining me. Will is joining me. Dre is joining me. Everybody's here. We're talking about a lot today on a special episode. I've been sick most of the last 2 weeks, so we've had a bunch of inconsistent uploads, but we are here. We are ready to go. Let's get started. Let's address something, and I want to be very, very clear when I say this. The AFC is not wide open. It's not. The Denver Broncos are clearly the best team in the AFC. And when they clinch the 1 seed and everybody has to go through Denver, Denver should, without a doubt, unequivocally, be the favorite to make it to the Super Bowl. Listen, you got to understand something. I've said all year, teams that are extremely hard to beat are almost more impressive than teams that win big. And I know that sounds weird, but last night, look at last night's game, for example. Seattle, I don't think is that far off from the Rams. I've had them as the 2 best teams in the NFC. And I said, look at that last game. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and look how close that game still was. The Seahawks are an extremely hard team to beat. The Broncos are that plus some. Last week's game, and everybody says, oh, the Packers scored on 5 straight drives. The Packers pretty much stalled out every time they were in the red zone. They could get to the red zone, and they were kicking field goals. The other 2 times, the 2 times they scored touchdowns, was Josh Jacobs, both times, one of which was maybe the catch of his life, where Dre Greenlaw literally had his arm up in between him and the ball, and Josh Jacobs made a wide receiver, high-level type catch in the end zone. And for a guy that historically has not been a good pass-catching running back, that is not something you can do with consistency. And the other one was off a extremely weak pass interference call that they then scored on the very next play, which should have been a 3-and-out. And listen, if you want to say that doesn't matter, the games are the games, that's fine. Well, then let's look at it. Denver, despite being one of the most penalized teams in the league, still finds a way to be 12-2 and unbeaten at home. Denver, despite being called fraudulent all year long, is 12-2, and its 2 losses are on last-second field goals. By the way, they never trailed in either of those games. Bo Nix, who was the weak link of the team, has continued to get better and better, and similar to his rookie season, has had a much stronger second half of the season compared to his first half of the season. Coming off 3 of his last 4 games played, might be 3 of his best games he's ever played in his life. And that game against the Packers, if any other quarterback had that, you would be screaming his praise to the mountaintop. 4 touchdowns, 300 yards, making big-time elite-level reads, throws against an elite-level defense. And let's look at all the things Denver has. In the NFL, Colin Cowherd always says this, and I believe it to be true. Get your quarterback right, protect your quarterback, get someone to get after the quarterback. No one's done it better than Denver. Okay, you got Bo Nix in the draft, who everybody said was going to be a bust. They got the best offensive line in football, and they get after the other team's quarterback better than anybody in football. And here's the thing. It's not just this year, because this is where people really have to start getting worried about the Denver Broncos, is that if this team goes on a playoff run for the next 3 years, they control the AFC. They don't just control it this year. They would control it for the next 3 years. This year plus 2 more, definitively. And then we'll see where it goes from there. Because this team, which is only going to get better, because this is their last year of paying for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson finally comes off the salary cap. If they do what I believe they're going to do, which is take advantage of having the richest owners in the sport, they will be able to keep Vance Joseph, pay him like a head coach. Him and Sean Payton, that's arguably, and I would say this year has proven out to be, your best head coach coordinator combination in the NFL. This defense is going to be intact for at least the next 3 years until we'll see what they do with Bo Nix as far as contractually. But this offensive line, young receivers continuing to get better, a team playing with more and more confidence, a team that has a true home field advantage. I tweeted this out yesterday. I responded to a tweet yesterday, and it was a Bronco fan who was talking about no huddle, up-tempo stuff in Mile High. And I said, this is why Peyton's record, and when Peyton Manning was a Denver Bronco, it was the most dangerous offense in NFL history. Statistically, that was proven, and if you just watch the games, because anybody that has to go to Denver, play in altitude, that is not used to it, when Peyton Manning is running no huddle offense and guys are running to the line of scrimmage and it's hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, and it's boom, boom, boom. In the first quarter, okay, everybody feels fine. Second quarter starts to get a little rough. That third and fourth quarter, you see guys. You saw it in the Green Bay game last week when Bo was running around. Micah Parsons is grabbing the breathing tank, and he's breathing super heavy, even pre-injury. The best corner in football. The best secondary in football. The best defensive line. The most sacks in football. The best offensive line. Fewest sacks allowed. Cortland Sutton. Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, Bo Nix is out here throwing touchdown passes to Michael Bandy, RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins should be back with this team. This team is going to feel like how those Niners teams felt, and you guys have heard me say this throughout the years, those off-the-bus teams where they just get off the bus and they're bigger than you, they're better than you. A guy like Zach Allen, who's not even a household name to most people, just joined J.J. Watt, maybe the best defensive player since 2000, in back-to-back seasons with 40-plus quarterback hits. And that doesn't include Nick Bonito, who is now a household name, a guy that, if Myles Garrett was not having the season he was having, would be up for Defensive Player of the Year consideration. That doesn't include Pat Surtain, who was the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. And here's the thing, what I think helps Denver the most, too. This isn't just, hey, let's hit on a few drafts and get really good for a short amount of time. Garrett Bowles has been through a lot of losing with the Denver Broncos. So to finally be on a team that's this good after all the losing he's been through, it hits different. Cortland Sutton has been on a lot of losing with the Denver Broncos. So to be on a team this good, it hits different. Surtain, for as great as he's been, Surtain was in that 70-point game against Miami. His dad tweeting after the game, they're not treating you right. This team is a mix of, this is not just sign big-time free agents, draft really well for a year or two, and boom, now we're great. This is years and years and years, and then you get a couple of core guys who stay with the team, then you get Sean Payton, you turn it to overdrive, you do sign a couple of free agents, and Mike McGlinchey was huge, Ben Powers is huge on that offensive line. This is the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFL. The Denver Broncos should be the favorite for the 2025 Super Bowl champions. I think they are better than either the two NFC teams we just saw last night, and those to me are the two best teams in the NFC. And they should handle Jacksonville convincingly. Now let me also say this, and I really, really like Bo Nix. He has done nothing but win since entering the NFL, and as a fan of the franchise, that's amazing. Went through a decade of crap, and so for Bo to have reached this level of winning this fast, I can't do anything but smile. But I want to be consistent, because if I'm not consistent, if I'm not honest, then I lose my integrity, and if I don't have integrity in what I'm saying, what's the point of listening to me? And I am going to be very clear. I said this about Dak Prescott, who was turned into a top-end quarterback. I said this about Brock Purdy, who I have mixed feelings on Brock Purdy, but he's been to Super Bowls. If I'm Bo Nix and I'm the Denver Broncos, somebody at some point will follow the Tom Brady formula. Because we can talk all we want about talent. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, these top-end quarterbacks who are all supremely talented. And who's going to consistently win? You can win during your prime, during the peak of your powers, when you are next-level talented, you are next-level amazing. But part of Brady's sustained success and continued dominance, he just took pay cuts. Him and Tim Duncan during the 2000s set the standard. Take a little less money, have a better team around you. Like, it's not a hard thing to do. And I know the NFLPA hates this, and so they'll never encourage anybody to do this, and Bo Nix's agent won't encourage anybody to do this, and I don't know if Bo Nix will even consider doing this. But I said this about Dak Prescott, I said this about Brock Purdy, and I want to be consistent. When you have one of those teams around you, and those early Cowboy teams of Dak, best offensive line, we're coming into their own as a defense. They won 13 games as a rookie, him, Zeke, that O-line, Des Bryant, eventually gets CeeDee Lamb. Like, you had a stacked roster around you. And if you're a successful NFL quarterback, you will make the world as your oyster as far as making money outside of the NFL and outside of your contracts, especially when your boss, I don't know, owns the biggest retail store in America. You're going to be able to get ads. You're going to be able to get sponsors. You'll be able to make, and I'm not pocket watching, but beyond millions and millions and millions of dollars off the field. Look at the teams who have really good rosters, how much they pay their quarterback. It ain't a ton. The teams that have great rosters, Sam Darnold, the Seahawks have a great roster. Sam has a really team-friendly deal. The Rams have a great roster. Stafford has a very short-term expensive deal because of his age. Purdy had a great roster with him in San Francisco. He got paid. You got to start getting rid of guys. Denver thanks you. They now have Greenlaw and Hufanga because of that. When you start paying these guys $50, $60 million, it's just hard to keep a team around them. Oh, but Green Bay paid Jordan Love and Micah Parsons, and look at their team. Look how quick their team is going to start having to peel pieces off because they just paid Micah. That's now going to start hitting the cap. They just paid Jordan Love. Now that's going to really start hitting the cap. You're all these young receivers that you're really excited about, you're not going to be able to pay all of them. Some of these really nice young guys on defense, you're not going to be able to pay all of them. That's the reality of the NFL. And Denver has struck really good deals and really good contracts. Zach Allen's got a really team-friendly deal. Nick Bonito's got a really team-friendly deal. Jonathan Cooper. Pat Surtain, I don't think he's a top 5 paid corner anymore. And he was just paid over a year ago, and he's the best in the world at what he does. If Bo takes a Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold-esque deal, the winning doesn't have to stop for a long, long time because you've got the right coach. You've got the right GM. Teams are going to want to come to Denver if you continue to win. Like, I just want to be consistent about this because I don't believe Bo is if you take out those 4 guys, take out Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, I would include Stafford, but he's older. Those guys could probably put them on almost any roster and they would win. And even them, you're seeing this year. It's a struggle with Lamar because some of the Ravens players aren't playing up to par. It's a struggle for Joe Burrow. He's missing the playoffs. Some of that's injury. Some of that is the roster's not very good. The defense is atrocious. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Kelsey gets a little older. Chris Jones gets a little older. The offensive line's got some injuries. The receivers aren't as good. Like, when you pay your quarterback top-end money, if they're not able to put on the quote-unquote Superman cape and go out there and win games and do all this other stuff, it becomes a really big struggle. So as great as I think the Broncos are right now and as great as I think they will be going forward, this is the difference in having a 3 or 4 year great run versus the ability to potentially have a 9 or 10 year great run for a quarterback that, again, I just don't believe is a top 5 talent level. I love Bo. He has been a part of the Broncos' resurgence, and I will always appreciate that as a fan, but I want to be consistent. Oh, man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Again, it's a 3-hour show. Will is going to be joining us here shortly, and then Tony, hour 2, along with Power Rankings, and Dre in hour 3. Appreciate it so much. This is HardFoul Radio. We'll be back momentarily. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.